Welcome to the Wellness Webinar with Blake Graham. Mike Randolph here, coming to you directly from the far northeastern shores of the Bula Vita Nation right here in southern New Hampshire. Before we turn the controls over to Blake, I'd like to remind everyone that he'll be discussing various health and wellness topics, including Bula Vita products and their natural interaction with your body's natural processes. Hang on just a second. We got a little feedback loop going here. I'm going to fix that real quick. There we go. I apologize for that interruption. Please be aware that Bula Vita's products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, nor should they be used as a substitute for any medications that you may currently be using. Today's presentation is for informational purposes only. Please consult with your medical professional before starting, stopping, or adjusting any medications. With that, let's get started. A few years into his pre-med studies, Blake realized that modern medicine was actually more about the treatment of symptoms and disease maintenance than it was about arming the body with the weapons of good nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. He's now a 20-plus year health and wellness advocate, network marketing veteran, family man, and most importantly, the chairman of the board, the Bula Vita Health Advisory Board, that is. So without further ado, let's please welcome Mr. Blake Graham. Hang on just a second, Blake, as I find your picture. There you are. You disappeared on me, but you came back. Take it away, sir.
Hey, thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, you're coming through crystal clear, 5x5.
All right, fantastic. Well, it's exciting to be here this week. Last week, we talked about the power of vitamins. And this week, we want to spend some time and talk about the power of minerals. And we actually have a special that we're going to mention a little bit later, and some special guests to join with us as well. Hopefully everybody can see this. I'm going to move it to the slideshow. But we're going to talk about the power of minerals. And we're going to talk about three things today. One, what is it that minerals do? Two, how can I tell if I need more? And three, we're going to talk about some support products. And minerals are very exciting for me. When we talk about what it is that minerals do, understand that a lot of times we put this together with vitamins and minerals. And in fact, if you look at the women, infants, and children information that we shared before on vitamins, the same graphic here talks about the functions of muscles, nerves, thyroids, immune system, metabolism, healing, with a whole bunch of minerals. For instance, zinc and iron needed for your hair. And needing potassium and magnesium and calcium for stable blood pressure, needing potassium and sodium for your kidney function, needing zinc for the immune system, iron and calcium for fertility, and strong bones, obviously calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and the list goes on and on. And one of the things that I think is interesting is most people really don't understand the difference between vitamins and minerals, right? We think vitamins and minerals. And a lot of people think they're very similar, and they do have some similarities in that they're used in the body for specific things, but how they're created are very different. If you think of it this way, plants can make vitamins. They can make vitamin C, they can make the B vitamins. You know, you can get vitamins made, but minerals are actually raw elements. If you want to look at the elemental chart, you'll see minerals are there. And these are the raw elements. They have to be absorbed from the soil. And how it works in the body is actually, if you crave minerals, you really don't eat dirt very well. We don't look at red dirt and say, wow, that's going to be great for my spaghetti sauce, or I need this one to sprinkle over rice. We do that with when we look at dirt. How it works in Mother Nature is when these minerals that are large in the soil get broken down by beneficial bacteria in the soil. And this is very important because oftentimes the chemicals that we put on our crops are killing off the good bacteria, but the minerals are supposed to get broken down, and then they get in smaller pieces, and then they get absorbed, and they actually become water soluble, and we can get our minerals from there. And the form really matters, right? We talk a lot of times about absorption, and we know that minerals in the soil are not absorbed very well. If you're low on iron, licking an iron skillet isn't going to give you a lot of extra iron. You know, you're anemic, so we want you to suck on your spoon a little more. No, that's not how it works. How it works is there's iron in the soil. And this is important because if there is an iron in the soil, or not hardly any iron in the soil, then I don't care how much spinach you're going to grow, it's not going to get a lot of iron that way. But the minerals are supposed to be broken down by bacteria. The plants absorb those minerals, and then we eat the plants. Remember that. The minerals get broken down by the bacteria. The plants absorb the minerals. We eat the plants. That's how it's supposed to be. And in fact, if you look at an electronic microscope picture of soil bacteria, you can see that as it processes and breaks down these minerals, you get almost salt-like crystals. And this is what the plant is after. This is what you and I are after. And that's one of the reasons when we're low in minerals, deficient in minerals, we will crave salt. If you look at naturally occurring salt, rock salt, right? Himalayan salt, the Wakaya sea salt, right? All of this salt, natural salt, naturally has minerals in it. It's not just table salt. It has a lot of minerals. And that's actually why in agriculture that farmers will put a salt lick out for their animals, because the animals, when they crave minerals, they go for that salt lick. Well, the function of minerals, if you look at some of this, and I think it's real interesting, there is in the National Institute of Health, the government organization, an office of that called the Office of Dietary Supplements. And here in that they give fact sheets for professionals, they call it, but you can see some of the benefits of what these minerals do. For example, looking at that calcium, we all know it's necessary for proper structure and function of bones and teeth, right? And in fact, oftentimes bleeding gums or even teeth that aren't aligned like they should, when they get extremely crooked teeth, or even cavities, can be a sign of not enough calcium in your teeth, right? Phosphorus is part of the bone and cell structure, and you can see this from the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University. And I just love some of the information that's coming out of these. Magnesium assists with over 300 different enzyme reactions, including blood pressure. This is very important. Too many times people, when they want to control blood pressure, they turn to a calcium channel blocker that will block the activity of the calcium, and really the body's actually asking for magnesium. Sodium, we know that that's helpful for the maintenance of blood pressure, and sodium and chloride are often found together, and it's actually used, NaCl, salt, right, is used to make actually HCl, hydrochloric acid, which helps with digestion. So oftentimes people on a lower salt might struggle with making enough stomach acid, right? And we look at the function of minerals, and you see here from healthline.com, they just list a whole bunch of them. Potassium, that helps with maintaining fluid in the cells, helps with nerve transmission, helps with muscle function. Sulfur is part of every living tissue, and it is so important. If you've heard of glucosamine sulfate or chondroitin sulfate, right? It's used in the bones primarily. There's a lot of use for sulfur in the bones. Iron is needed to help move oxygen. Everybody knows about red blood cells and how they help to move oxygen around. You need iron, and it actually has a cofactor with it, folic acid. And this is why vitamins and minerals are so great to have together, right? In Mother Nature, we don't see natural food sources that only have minerals. They have vitamins in there with it, but manganese assists in carbohydrate, amino acid, and cholesterol metabolism. And there's more. Copper we need for connective tissue, and in fact, elasticity of connective tissue. If you want skin that's very elastic, good or healthy levels of copper can be so important, as well as for normal brain and nervous system function. Zinc is great for growth. In fact, if you look at the human growth hormone, requires a lot of zinc. And so I've actually seen many studies where they talk about that those that eat meat, and they use a lot of zinc when they're feeding the animals, because bigger animals are worth more than smaller animals. Higher levels of zinc in the food you eat can lead to actually better growth for your children. And I've actually seen that, and that's one of the benefits oftentimes of having zinc in your multivitamins, right? Iodine, we all hear about for thyroid regulation. Oh, and I should mention, zinc is very important for the immune system and very important for wound healing. Selenium, we talk about often when we talk about soft tissue and essential fatty acids, because it's so great to activate an enzyme called the glutathione peroxidase, which actually helps to reverse oxidative damage, reverse the damage that happens to soft tissue, right? These are just some of the examples, but the list goes on and on. There's actually, by some experts, they say, nearly 60 different minerals that are necessary for healthy function in the human body. And one of the signs that we need minerals is actually when we crave sweets. Have you ever been physically full and still gone to the refrigerator to see what looks good? If you have, that can be a sign. And I say that because we know when you get minerals that absorb into the soil, and we've actually done this in Japan for a number of years with so many of the people that we work with over there, where they actually import the same minerals we use in some of our products, and they use it in agriculture, and they can see something called the bricks reading, or the sweetness, what they can measure, go up year to year to year with their, whether it's their tomatoes, whether it's with their corn, whether it's asparagus, and the list goes on and on. We've seen it in so many different things. You want sweeter crops, you put more minerals on, especially the kind of minerals that we get from this incredible plant deposit that's out of central Utah. It's just absolutely fantastic. But let's go to the second point. How can I tell if I need more? And this is something, again, we go to that Women, Infants, and Children PDF where they talk about nutrient deficiencies or disease. And it talks about this in regards to not just vitamins, but also, remember, minerals. And there's other nutrients mentioned here. But nutrient deficiency or disease can be the result of poor nutritional intake, chronic health conditions, acute health conditions, medication, altered nutrient metabolism, or combination of these factors, and can impact the levels of both macronutrients and micronutrients in the body. They can lead to alterations in energy metabolism, where you eat and you get sleepy after meals. That can be a sign of that. Immune function, cognitive function. If you've ever had brain fog, or you have that thing, and you know what the thing is, but you can't get there, right? Bone formation, muscle function, as well as growth and development when it's in a child, right? And these are very important because this actually goes back. I mentioned the Linus Pauling Institute. Dr. Linus Pauling is the recipient of 2 Nobel Prizes, one the Nobel Peace Prize, but another one, the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Chemistry, for vitamin C. And even though he was world famous for vitamin C, he has a very famous quote that you can see on the screen here. He says, "You can trace every sickness, every disease, every ailment to a mineral deficiency." He was probably dealing more with deficiency diseases, chronic diseases, not so much from toxic exposure. But he says, when you look at these chronic diseases, it's a result of a mineral deficiency, because when you're lacking minerals, your body can't use the vitamins. And that's one of the things that he saw. And we've actually seen this. And you may have seen this on some of our presentations when we talk about core health, because we have seen, according to statistics from the USDA, as the minerals in society have gone down, nutrient deficiency diseases have gone up. When our building blocks for our body go down, diseases go up. And what happens is, remember, it's the stuff in the soil. As we absorb it and don't replace it, absorb it and don't replace it, absorb it and don't replace it, the soils go deficient. And that's why we're seeing a decline in the minerals in our food. That's one of the reasons that we have so much craving for sweets. And when you make recipes, we're having to throw extra sugar in there to make it taste better many times, because the food itself is lacking. Have you ever tried produce that was farm fresh from your own garden, where you put extra minerals in it, or from the neighboring farmer that puts extra minerals in it, vine ripened, and it tastes sweeter and better? We see that all the time. And that goes back to what I was talking about with the minerals. And this is very important, because even one simple mineral is magnesium, one of only 60 that our body needs, right? But even the minerals, magnesium, and this is not when you're majorly deficient. This is just the average RDA, which is not optimal levels according to a lot of scientists. But even then, they say the average American diet doesn't even get half of what we need. We get 40% of the RDA, and 60% of it has to be supplemented. And you can see that in that high impact magnesium recipe booklet or PDF that will soon be available on the Bula Pro app. But let's just look at some common signs of deficiency. And I'm going to pull some research from PubMed, pubmed.gov. This is the National Library of Medicine. And this is reported in healthline.com when they talk about 7 common nutrient deficiencies. But here's just one quote, and it's a direct quote. And you can see the references there. And if you would like to look up the references, you're welcome to. But they're in medical journals. We specifically say the main symptom of severe magnesium deficiencies include abnormal heart rhythm, muscle cramps, restless leg syndrome, fatigue, and migraines. Okay. Abnormal heart rhythm, muscle cramps, restless leg syndrome, fatigue, and migraine. And that's only one of those minerals. Anybody want those? No. But they go on to say here that the more subtle long-term symptoms that you might not notice, that you might not even recognize, include insulin resistance and high blood pressure. We don't want that. And it's obviously, when we talk about the rising tide of disease, we need to do something to help combat that. And if you look at when we talk about tide, as a company, we like to specialize in working on the toxins and the inflammation, digestion, but that essential nutrients. essential minerals can be so key. So what do we do for support products? And we're going to talk about a couple today. We're going to talk about the Mineral Garden, the Sport and Go, but I'm also going to put a plug in because next week we're going to talk about joint support. We're going to talk about an incredible magnesium product called Relax. We're going to talk about the joint formula, the bone and muscle formula. But today we want to talk about two. We're going to talk about the Mineral Garden and we're going to talk about the Sport and Go. And first, to talk about the Mineral Garden is made from 70, it's actually, I should go back here, 70 plus organic plant minerals. We know the body needs at least 60, but this plant deposit, actually one day, if you could have seen some of my slides before, you can take this humic shell, they call it, and put it in water. And as it evaporates out, it actually builds up mineral crystals on the outside. It's so absorbable. And we just love that. And it's so amazing because it helps with all of the different enzymes in the body. And what we've done is taken that and added to it 29 different fruits and vegetables, to go along with our core support, but you get the added minerals. And it's got some grapeseed extract, which is incredible, absolutely incredible as an antihistamine and anti-inflammatory and antioxidant support, right? But this can be something that is just so great. And we're going to talk a little bit about this because this is one of those that actually has a special. Right now, they are starting a special of a buy one, get one free on the Mineral Garden. And so you can see that in your back office. But the Mineral Garden is one that has a little bit of a prune juice taste. But I want to go out, if we can, and reach out and see if Jenny Potter is on with us. Now, are you there?
Hey, I am here.
All right, fantastic. Now, I know we talked last week, and I appreciate you being our guest on this. This is something for you and your family, liquid nutrition can be a real big deal. Tell us a little bit about how you use the Mineral Garden and maybe some of the ideas you have for recipes or how people can incorporate this with their family and with their kids.
Well, I know that you gave me a couple ideas for recipes, but honestly, our whole family, we just shoot it together. We just put it in like a little shot glass and we just take it and throw it back. There's different things you can mix it with our exogenous ketones, the keto fizz, and there's all kinds of combinations, but we've kind of made it this family thing. My daughter doesn't like to take capsules. So her preference is the Sport and Go or adding even the Mineral Garden to her smoothie or anything like that. But most of the time we all just we have these little shot glasses in which we never used to have. Someone had to buy them for me. But we had these little shot glasses now in our kitchen cupboard right by our regular glasses. And every morning we all just take a shot of the Mineral Garden. And we do that without missing because it feels good. And I think that's the thing, like you can kind of convince a teenager, because we have a teenager, and you can convince her to try it, but to keep doing it, she does it because she feels better. And that's, Dave and I are going to take, what we know is good for us, but a teenager is going to do it because they feel better. And so that's been our biggest testament to the product, is that we just feel better when we take it. And it's made a big difference. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, now, this does have a little bit of a prune taste, and I do take it straight, but coming up with a couple of recipes. I actually have a guest here that I brought today, and this is my daughter. Now, this is my daughter that is the one that is super picky about taste, right? Mm-hmm. She can tell the difference between brands of rice. They're like, Dad, you changed the brand. I don't like this rice as much. She's very picky. Now, I think it'll make a great chef, but one of the things we did, and I have learned that sometimes to get an honest opinion, I don't tell them what's in it. But right. I actually went and took this and made Jell-O. And before the Jell-O set, I poured the Mineral Garden in there. And this is something that, I asked the kids, hey, what do you think? And they're like, oh, it's good. Didn't know that it was the Mineral Garden in there, right? So she's going to come and eat some of that for us and tell us how it tastes. Now, how is it? Now, the other thing that is really good, this is just heavy whipping cream, but you can see some heavy whipping cream. Can you hold that, Emma? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I will do is actually take the Mineral Garden and just pour some into the heavy whipping cream, and then take the spoon and mix that up. And it becomes like almost like a yogurt. And you can see that it gets thicker because the minerals and the fat and that bond together. A lot of people will put it into I'm a big fan of the fizz, and I do a creamy fizz, but the Mineral Garden mixed with the fizz can be another one. But it's one. How is that? Yeah. But this is one of the things that we do in our family to get extra minerals in it. And, thank you. So she just wanted to come on there, but I wanted to go back because we're going to talk about another product real briefly, because the Mineral Garden is like an add-on to get extra minerals. But one of the things we do with our core is that with our core we use a mineral product that's sometimes we call it the fusion, but it's the Sport and Go Combined Daily Detox. And in addition to the vitamins in it, it's got those 70+ plant minerals. And this is one of the reasons that along with the energy and the thyroid support and the adrenal support that you see and the kidney support, we actually see a lot of people that have a lot less cravings when they're doing that. And I know we've got adaptogens in there to help drive these minerals and the vitamins into the cells like we want to. But I want to reach out. We're going to reach out in a minute when we're going to talk about times when you can benefit from extra minerals. But let's reach out to Carol Lee. Are you on with us as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Carol Lee, why don't you tell us, especially when we're dealing with cravings, about some of the experiences you've had. Now, Carol Lee, you're also a certified nutritionist, and you work with a lot of people, family members included, to help them with their health challenges and nutritional strategies with this. Tell us a lot about some of the difference that you've seen with either the Mineral Garden and the with the Sport and Go when it comes to dealing with cravings and blood sugar support.
So probably the thing that impressed me the most when I first started to learn about minerals was watching it actually break a soda habit. I had a family member who had soda every day, and no, it wasn't diet. It was regular soda, and it was a big, big deal. Had been doing it for years, had blood sugar issues, definitely needed to break that habit, and had no way been able to break it. And he started using some of these minerals, the minerals in the Mineral Garden, and almost immediately those cravings started to break. And after he actually got his health kind of back under control and resolved some of those blood sugar issues, actually wanted to see if he still liked soda and what it tasted like, and went to have some and literally didn't finish the can because it tasted so horrible. It tasted like chemicals to him. And that was the last soda that he'd ever had. So that really said to me that there was something to it about the cravings. And then I started to experience that as well, where if I didn't have the minerals, I was having huge cravings and I wanted to eat everything in sight, even if I'd eaten a large meal and was full. And when I add those minerals, that does not happen. So I am one that uses extra minerals all the time, even in addition to the Sport and Go. And the minerals for me also help with some of that blood sugar balance. But when it comes to the Sport and Go, I call that my happy drink because I am never going without that. In fact, that's like the first thing I do when I wake up, because it really helps out with that energy levels. I also had a nephew who, even as a very little boy, he just needed those extra B vitamins and the minerals in the Sport and Go. And he would actually get very angry and very moody and even kind of pitch a fit if his parents forgot to get him the Sport and Go. So really important product, I think, for that. And when I have mine, my favorite thing to do is actually to add some extra ginger to increase that blood sugar support and have it hot. That is amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. We will talk about that another time when we do some more help with energy and focus and do a special webinar for that. But absolutely, that warm Sport and Go with the extra ginger in it can be absolutely incredible. But I want to reach out again to Jenny there and talk about, have you noticed with not only yourself, but the people you've worked with, more minerals, when they get more nutrition, that snacking goes down and they actually find that they're saving money in their food bill as they're getting the nutrition their body needs?
Yeah, well, one of the things you even said today that just dawned on me that doesn't happen anymore, Blake, is I don't get tired after meals anymore. And, you know, I didn't know why that was. Obviously, I was happy with that, but, but I didn't know why that was. But yeah, absolutely. You know, I think people just don't really realize. I certainly did not realize. Like, I will tell you that pre Bula Vita, I pretty much lived on popcorn and toast for like 20 something years. Like, it was not good. And as a child, I had restless legs, migraines, very low energy, a lot, like as I, you know, was about 11 or 12 years old, I started getting like a lot of symptoms that you've talked about. And the light bulb's kind of gone on as I've been sitting here listening to you, because all I know is that we feel better when we take this stuff. You know, that's the bottom line. And when we talk to clients who take it, like as soon as they start taking it, as soon as our friends and family are taking it, they're ordering it again. Like, it's just because they just feel better, more energy, which is, I would say, one of the biggest complaints right now that people have, that they're just used to, is to be tired all the time, is to have joint pain all the time, is to, people are often headachy and exhausted at the end of the day. And what I found out is that we're not supposed to be exhausted. You know, we're not supposed to come home from work and be like, you know, feel like we're going to die. We're supposed to, you know, our body was designed to deal with all the stuff we put in it, and use some and get rid of some. And I think that with the combination of being inundated with the toxins and not getting enough minerals and not getting enough vitamins, is really not a great combination. So I'm excited that we have the products to deal with those shortages.
Absolutely. One of the things that we see all the time, especially with quarantine, how many people snack and they snack and they snack and they snack, and you snack and it's like a temporary, you know, you feel good and then you crave it again, right? Because it hasn't actually satisfied those cravings. You give the body sugar. Naturally, sugar was supposed to be packaged. The sweeter apple was supposed to have more minerals. You get it without the minerals, and now your body's not satisfied. So you're still looking for something. And that's one of the things you see. And I've seen it so many times when people just, you know, get an extra swig of minerals. And we've been sitting here, my daughter's finished off the Jello there, right? But when you get more minerals, the snacking goes way down. And that's a big deal, because we get into helping people with their budgets too, because you're not spending so much money on junk food. And now when you feel better, you're not having to spend so much money in dealing with health issues too. Because, you know, if you think health is expensive, a friend of mine said, you ought to try being sick. That's real expensive, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we want. We want to make a difference. And that's what it's all about. So when we're using the products, obviously, getting extra minerals when you feel like you have extra need. There's some already in the JAT core. When you're dealing with the core products, you're getting minerals there. But if you have those cravings, where you're getting stiff shoulders or leg cramps or joint pain, or you need that extra energy, those can be times when minerals can be absolutely valuable to take a little bit of extra. And that's why I'm excited about the special they have with the buy one, get one free on the Mineral Garden. Now, remember, our strategy overall is to approach our health like you would fix a flat tire. Pull the nails out, patch the hole, fill the tire with air. That's just one piece of what we do, but it's such an important piece. And when we can get the minerals, the air in our bodies in conjunction with the other things we do, it's so fantastic. That's why we love to start with the GT Core and customizable packs and add on, based on our needs, additional things. And with that, we want to thank everybody for their time and in joining with us on this presentation, and for all that you do to help us share this information with others, because we do believe in education. You know, an educated consumer is a consumer that can make educated decisions, that can make better decisions for their family. And that's what it's all about, the people. It's all about making a difference. And that's why I'm so excited to be part of that. And I want to thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Carolee. Thank you, Emma, for joining us today on the Zoom. And thank you for everybody who's taken their time to watch it. Everybody have a blessed day. God bless and stay safe.